As one of the world's largest airlines, American hasn't been profitable in recent times. Releasing its third quarter 2024 financial report on October 24th, the carrier reported a net loss for this period totaling $149 million. Compared to the same period in 2023, total operating revenue was up, revenue passenger miles were up, and passenger load factors were higher as well. Not to mention aircraft fuel costs were actually lower. Despite the airline posting a record third-quarter revenue of $13.6 billion, why did it lose so much money overall? Particularly when compared to its rivals United and Delta, which both reported net profits of more than $1 billion for the same period. We explore the various factors in today's video. If we were to sum up American Airlines' most recent financial report in a few words, we would say that it's doing much better than a year ago, but still not able to fully turn a profit. Sure, it lost $149 million in the third quarter of 2024, but it posted a net loss of $545 million for the same period in 2023. When you consider this, we can at least say that the airline is moving in the right direction. Nonetheless, there are still a few things weighing down American Airlines in its tedious journey towards profitability. Let's first look at perhaps the biggest factor in recent times: the airline's bungled sales and distribution strategy. According to Forbes reporting from late July, American Airlines said that it expected to lose $1.5 billion in revenue this year due to lost corporate bookings. In June 2024, we posted a video to this channel titled "American Airlines Shot Itself in the Foot, Will Modify Distribution Strategy." In it, we discussed how the airline had made changes to its sales and distribution channels, which appeared to cut many corporate travel agents out of the picture. One of the most popular comments on this video offers some good insight from the corporate travel perspective, with the individual saying, "I can't tell you how stupid this strategy was. I worked for several years in the corporate travel planning business where we mainly did Delta tickets. We did huge amounts of business for the airline and got hefty commission overrides as a result. It seems like AA was trying to get their customers to book in an online portal of some kind to bypass these agencies. First off, large companies who book travel through agencies don't want to be bothered with this, and if they have a choice, they will throw their buying power to another major airline. This is about convenience for big corporate clients as much as it is for the agencies, and not having access to 40% of fares? Well, that just isn't very smart. Sounds like AA was getting a little greedy and forgot who was paying the bills." As you can probably tell, the airline's plan backfired and the airline had to reverse course. After all, corporate travel is big money, not just in terms of passenger quantity and frequency, but also the types of seats they occupy, those premium seats up at the front of the aircraft. In its Q3 report, American said that it continues to evolve its sales and distribution strategy to address feedback from corporate and agency partners and regain lost share. It adds that it renegotiated competitive contracts with a majority of the largest travel agencies and many of its top corporate customers, reintroducing corporate experience benefits for corporate travelers and offering increased support for corporate and agency customers by adding sales account managers and sales support staff. American's loss must have been a gain for its competitors, network airlines who also offer solid premium products and expansive domestic and international networks. Dennis Tasia, representing the Allied Pilots Association, which represents American pilots, told Forbes, "The lost revenue went into the coffers of Delta and United. American lost, they won. Rich revenue doesn't just evaporate. We don't need Nancy Drew to determine where the $1.5 billion went." The other major expense for American was a new 5-year contract for its flight attendants. The revised agreement, ratified in September, provided flight attendants with immediate wage increases of up to 20.5%, along with significant retroactive pay to address time spent negotiating. Compared to Q3 of 2023, American spent $116 million more on salaries, wages, and benefits. But hopefully in the long term, the pay increase for flight attendants settles things and gives the airline some labour certainty for the next few years. If we look at other expenses and compare them with the previous year's third quarter, we can also see that the airline spent $95 million more on regional operating expenses and $119 million more on maintenance, materials and repairs. These were increases of roughly 9% and 14% respectively. The airline also spent $116 million more on the line item titled Other Rent and Landing Fees, an increase of 15.5%. Sure, while Americans spent less on many things while experiencing higher operating revenues, it just wasn't enough to break even. The airline also mentioned that it encountered several quote-unquote irregular operations events during the quarter, most notably the CrowdStrike outage and Hurricanes Debbie and Helene. However, American doesn't pin its losses on these events and actually highlights that its teams did fairly well in adapting to and overcoming these irregularities. That sounds fair, considering Delta was hit far worse by the CrowdStrike outage and still turned a decent profit. Nowhere in its reporting did American mention Boeing's delivery issues as a factor, despite the plane maker's machinist strike throughout September and October. However, when asked about the state of Boeing, American CEO did admit his frustration to CNBC, telling the media outlet, "I look forward to the day when they're not just a distraction. We've been struggling with them over the last 5 years." Isom added that he needs Boeing to deliver quality aircraft on time, adding, "I look forward to the phone call when Boeing says we're able to do so." Earlier in the year, the airline reduced its 2024 aircraft delivery forecast by almost 25%. By April, Boeing was to deliver just half of the 6 787 Dreamliners that American originally expected during 2024. It was also expected that Boeing would deliver 16 instead of 20 737 MAXs. At the time of making this video, with data from planespotters.net, American has thus far taken delivery of 0 787s and just 5 737 MAX jets in 2024. With American reducing service and cutting flights earlier in the year because of delays, we have to assume that such delays are having a negative financial impact in these last months of 2024 as well. But, well, to wrap it all up, when looking at the airline's figures, we can see that its Q3 load factor was a healthy 86.6%, up from 84% in Q3 2024. However, overall yield and revenue per passenger fell. Yield was down 5.2%, while passenger revenue per available seat mile was down 2%. This tells us that the airline isn't capturing as much of the premium market, with each passenger paying the airline less on average. All things considered, American is doing better than it was a year ago, but it still has some challenges to overcome. Some of these are of its own doing, while others are outside of its control. What do you think of American Airlines? Are there any other reasons for the airline's underperformance when compared to its competitors? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.